Mr. Transformers 96 here with another Marvel Legends ranking video. This time we have the Joe Fixit wave, and we're going to be ranking them. So I do this with every wave that I complete the most of. I completed this entire wave, built the Build-A-Figure, and I'm going to be doing a ranking. The Build-A-Figure is quite a bit larger and more out of scale, or not out of scale, but just out of the same league as the regular figures, so I will not be including him in the ranking. Keep it more fair, just going to be doing the 6 figures in the wave itself, and 2 of them being game figures, 4 of them being comic figures. This was a wave that I didn't plan on actually building, but I ended up just kind of slowly deciding to get enough of the figures that it made sense to complete it, and then I got the last set on a sale, so I ended up completing the wave overall. Not one that really excited me though when it was first shown, to be quite honest. But let's get started here with my ranking. This is going to be based on the figures, but also my personal experience with them, and we'll start from the one that I found the least best of the wave all the way up to the best. And let's get started. And taking the final spot, I have to give it to Jocasta. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is a character that intrigued me. I did some brief research. I saw that she's kind of called Ultron's Bride too, which really intrigued me. So I wanted to get the figure. Figure overall is just okay. It's pretty basic. It's your standard figure. The one thing I do give them props for is the fact that the line work on the body is all sculpted. That could have just been easily painted, so I'm glad to see that it is fully sculpted. But it's not painted super well. Like the diamond effect in her torso isn't painted well. The brighter silver is bleeding into the lighter silver, which is just a bit of a shame. And when you look at it, it's just there's not a whole lot of dimension. I do think that it relatively captures the character's look in the comics, but it's quite basic as far as the figure goes, and pretty easy to determine as my least favorite of the wave. And taking that 5th spot, we have the game version of Captain America. This is an okay figure. I think that it has a lot of sculpted detail, which is quite nice. But I do have some complaints about it. I think that the torso is very tube-like. There's not a whole lot of dimension there. However, it looks like he would have a really good torso ab crunch, and he really doesn't, which is annoying. The shield I really dislike. I don't like the way that it clamps on. I much prefer like actual straps for the shield, but sometimes they do like just a little kind of clamp that just goes on the wrist, but his arms are so detailed and with so much texture that it doesn't really clamp on very well, so it just doesn't look great on his arm. And then if you attach it to his back, you get the light gray on, just kind of plastic gray on the back, which kind of sucks. Would much prefer a silver, and the plastic is so kind of cheap on that portion that you can see like the red bleeding through the other side on the rim of the shield, which is annoying. So overall, it's a figure that has a lot of detail, but there's some pieces in it that aren't executed that well in my opinion. And next up we have the Falcon. This is a figure that I think could have been done better. Obviously his design is relatively basic in the comics, but I think that it could have been executed a little bit nicer here. But as you can see, you have him with the new kind of designed wings featured from Vulture. I like the way that they break up. I'm a fan of the kind of design in that nature, but I do think that they look a little I don't like the translucent nature of them. They look strange translucent. I prefer more detail as far as the paint apps are concerned on the actual wings themselves. I also think that white on red, white on a dark color is hard, and they didn't execute it that well, considering like his shoulders are really annoying. His shoulders are white, and then the red portion of his shoulders are like pink. They really don't match up with the dark red that he has on the rest of his body, which really bugs me. So overall, it's an okay figure. Like it captures the design of him, but I'm not a fan of the like half translucent wings, because if you look on the package behind him, those are full-on translucent wings, and if they did that, I could get more behind it. But they give it like this frosted translucent, which just looks a little strange, especially when you have portions that are doubled up that don't have any translucent because there's something behind it. It creates a strange look in my opinion. And as we get into the top 3, I have Thunderstrike as number 3. This is a figure that I really had no interest in. Getting, though, I actually thought was pretty good. I was pretty impressed with it. I love the expression. I love that intensity. Always find it fun when figures have intense expressions. The figure is very bulky. He's got a big frame to him, and I think that the texture really surprised me. The texture in the jacket and the boots are very nice. He has, they're fully textured. They look like a leather, like you can really see the material in them, which is really cool. I think that that's done very nicely. I do like the kind of circular panels, fully sculpted and pretty like bulging on the torso. I think that that's nice as well. My one big complaint with him is that his joints on his shoulders are painted the color of his outfit and not the color of his skin. So he's got blue like lines in his shoulders if you have his arms pointed up, which is very annoying, really unnatural, and a really easy fix. So that does annoy me. But overall, I think this is a really solid figure and one that impressed me. Taking that second spot, we have Kane. This was the only figure in the wave that I actually wanted. Everyone else was either a kind of want or a buy to build a figure, to be honest. And this is a good figure. I do like it quite a bit. It appears to be a completely new sculpt, which is great. I love the texture in the green kind of fabric portions of the suit. Fully textured, which looks amazing. The line work on the legs, fully textured again. I think that they really did everything that they could with this figure. I don't see how this one could be improved. I think that it's quite nicely done. The paint is all very good. I see no bleeding anywhere, and the colors just look great together. And this is just a really solid figure. I was tempted to put this as number one, but there was one that I found a little bit more interesting. Nonetheless, really love this figure. And my favorite figure of the wave does have to be this Iron Man armor from the game. I'm not big on the games, but this armor was really cool. Again, I really like Kane, so, 1 and 2 can kind of be interchangeable, but this was a really solid figure. I think the design of the armor is very cool, and I think that the paint job on this guy is stunning. It's fully sculpted, which is great, and it's a new sculpt, other than the fact that they did reuse it from a white version that they released a couple months ago with the Abomination wave. It wasn't in the wave, but I think that it was released around that wave. I didn't get that armor or that figure, so this is a new sculpt to me, and I think that the paint is really incredible. They've used kind of a metallic look through the blue, and then they have a nice shine when it comes to the silver, and then even the dark places that are supposed to be, I assume they're supposed to be like black, but they're not quite black. They're like a charcoal gray metallic. Like, it's cool. Like, they could have easily done a portion of this guy in a standard color, and I would have really expected that, but they really went shiny and metallic. Like, they top notch on all the colors that they included in this figure, and then the way that the colors are designed throughout him and placed really meld in nicely. There isn't like a portion of him that's one color and then a portion that's another color, which I find can happen with Iron Man armors, but not in this case. It's spread out very nicely, the colors are great, and the figure design overall is very cool as well. Alright, so there's my ranking of this Joe Fixit wave. Overall, to be honest, I think that this wave is really middle of the pack. I don't think that there's some good figures. I think Kane and the game armor Iron Man are good figures. There's not a single character in this wave that I think is just absolutely fantastic and is a character that we've been waiting for forever. I think Falcon comes the closest to that, but I think that a lot of these characters are pretty not really necessary for a collection, unless, you're a big fan of one in particular, but there's just not that many huge fans of any of these characters, I think. I think Falcon and Kane they were really the only ones that I knew about before this wave. I had seen Joe Fixit, didn't really know anything about him. The Thunderstrike, I didn't really know about, and I don't play the games, and I didn't know about Jocasta's there. So I personally think that this wave could have been a skip. When it was first shown, I was planning on skipping it. I ended up getting Kane just because I did want that figure. I researched Jocasta a little bit once I heard kind of the Ultron bride. I kind of thought that made her very interesting to me. And then I was wanting Falcon, not needing but wanting, so I ordered her and Falcon. And then by that time I was like, well, I'm already 3 in, just 3 more to complete the Build-A-Figure, and I was able to get them on a sale with Target. So overall, I put this wave together, but I wasn't excited to, I guess. So yeah, it's an okay wave. I probably wouldn't recommend it unless you're a big fan of the majority of these figures, or these characters, excuse me. The figures are okay. Some definitely better than others. But there you go. That's my thoughts on this wave. Pretty middle of the bar there, but with some decent figures wrapped inside it. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think of my ranking. I'd love to hear your guys' ranking, and thanks so much for watching.